Hey YouTube, if you've ever wondered if it's possible to make the wonderful Tuscan dry salami that you have on charcuterie boards everywhere, yes, it is possible. It is takes about a month, and it does take some very specific ingredients and tools and things that you may not have on hand, so look it up before you decide to try it, but I am going to be making it. We have our big Christmas party coming up in exactly a month from tomorrow, so I'm making this tonight. The other thing you want to look at when you make something like this, check the recipe, because this has to go overnight. It's like a 12-hour wait in between the start and the hanging it to air dry for the duration. So I have 5 pounds of beef here that's just ground beef. I did it mixed once with pork and beef and I can't tell the difference, so I'm just using straight beef. I will show you, this is the book that I use. I don't know if you can see with the ring light, but that book, and I will post a link to it on Amazon in the description down below. So I'm not going to probably give you like quantities of all the ingredients. The main first thing you're going to need, besides the meat, you want casings. And I use these. These are fibrous mahogany casings that are, I believe they're 2.5 inch in diameter. And you want to start early on this because these need to go in warm water, which I'm going to do right now, for 25 to 30 minutes before you fill them. So those are just in some warm water and they're going to sit. I'll set a timer and we'll be ready to do those in about 25 minutes. And then here we have some ingredients. Pardon my cranberry butter, I'm double tasking today and I've already made something for our party. So those are sitting for 25 minutes. We have kosher salt, we have pink curing salt, we have garlic. This is almost 2 teaspoons of garlic. It was actually steeped in some olive oil, but it just should be minced garlic. This is a Bactofirm product, which is the culture that's going to make the salami be delicious. That is dextrose. This is ground black pepper, and this is fennel seeds, which I'm going to grind up really fine so they're not big chunks like that. We've got some water and about 1/4 cup of a really nice dry Chianti. So I'm going to get the fennel seeds ground, and then in 20 minutes or so I'll come back and show you how to mix this all together and stuff these casings. So the first step we're going to do while the casings are sitting in the warm water, we're going to add both the kosher salt and the pink curing salt, which I'll just put in one container. So I just went ahead and added the kosher salt and the curing salt to the beef in this mixer, which actually just filmed it and it got erased. So just imagine me doing that. And so the meat is going to go in the fridge for just a little while we wait for the casings to continue to soak in the water, and then we'll come back and add the rest of the ingredients and stuff the casings. So while the meat is chilling and the casings are in the water, I'm just dissolving that culture in the little 1/4 cup of water. So that's it's a Bactofirm product. I probably got it on like sausagemaker.com or I don't know where, but if I can find where I got it, I'll put it in the link in the description. So that is sitting waiting to go in. Do not get this wrong because you will not end up with salami. Not speaking from experience or anything. So that's one of the very specific ingredients that you will need if you're making salami. The rest of this salt, all this dextrose, I mean, that's a little different, but definitely find the right culture for the salami you are making. The other thing that I use to stuff the casings, you get 2 glasses of a similar size. I just use these because they're big, because these are big casings. And we're going to use those to hold the casings up while you're stuffing everything down in, and that way they stay upright so you can jam the meat down in there. And I use usually something like this to get the start on getting the meat packed down in these casings. We have the meat back out and we're going to start adding these little ingredients to this, and it's really just mix it up and get it in the casings. We start by adding, I'm just going to add the culture first and get that blended in really well, and then the dry ingredients. You don't want to over mix the meat either, or you'll end up with something more like a Swedish meatball texture. So we're going to add the rest of these dry ingredients. This is the fennel that we ground up earlier. And you've got your dextrose. Sorry if my hands are in the way a little bit. And we've got 4 teaspoons, 4 teaspoons of black pepper, kind of coarsely ground. And then my garlic, which I'm going to put in once the mixer's going because it's kind of solid. And I just do it on very low. And then we're going to run that for a minute to blend those ingredients together. All right, I just pulled one of these casings out of the warm water, and it's already tied on the end, so you're going to hang it with that, which is handy. And we're going to tie this end off with just, I usually just use a twist tie. And I must apologize for the unusually bad lighting. My lighting's usually bad, but this is unusually bad because my overhead lights are not working at all right. I just taped them off, like, don't use these. When you turn them on, like, one comes on, one is halfway on, two of them don't work, like, what? So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I don't really have any light in my kitchen right now. So what I'm doing is just folding this down like a sock to where you can get into the end and start adding meat to this, because you want to pack it. I want it packed really tight in here because you're going to shrink as it ages. And the other thing you need if you're going to make this, we got a wine cooler, you know, like a little refrigerator, and you can keep the right temperature and humidity for this to set, because you're going to want to hang this, and I know this sounds creepy, but you're going to want to hang this at 60 degrees with 60 to 70% humidity. So you can get those conditions in one of those. I have a little separate refrigerator that's just for this. And that way they can hang and the mold will develop and they're lovely. So I'm going to just take my wooden spoon, because it's the right size to get started, and just start with not too much, because I hope you can see this, but stuff it down in there. And it's a little bit, it's a little bit weird to get started just at first, but I just get a little bit down in there, push it down in, and just kind of shake it down and just squeeze it hard to get a nice tight, like, you want that to be really tight in that bottom of that casing, and you're going to want it that tight the whole time. And this first bit, you just do it and hold on to it. And you can use your hands, I guess. I don't like to touch meat, especially, okay, here's what I learned with salami the first time I made this, and this might freak you out. You know, we love salami, right? It's not cooked or smoked in any way. It is just, this is raw beef, and it's going to sit in these casings at room temperature overnight. So to keep it safe overnight, I put it in a tray and put this in the oven, obviously not the oven on. Make sure you do not turn on the oven, but leave it in the oven overnight to be room temp overnight. But I was really blown away that salami, like, really? And that's where that culture starts to work, because it's fermenting. And then it goes in the cooler upstairs at 60 degrees for a month. And this is just, it just really kind of threw me at first, because I didn't realize that salami is actually raw. It's raw meat. It's cured. It's got curing salt in it, and it's got some aging and some culture. But there's no cooking going on, and there's no smoking. There's no heat that's applied to this anywhere along the way, and very little refrigeration too. So hope I didn't just blow salami for you, but there it is, kids. I'm going to struggle along with this for a little bit, and then I'll get it farther along and I'll show you how you end up with a nice tight packed salami casing. But you can see you're going to have to figure out your own method, because I'm still trying to figure it out each time. So you can see how it's starting to take shape. That'll be that long. So this 5-pound batch of meat is going to make 2 of these that are going to hang in the cooler. And by the time they're done curing, they will weigh total about 1.5 pounds each. So they're going to shrink quite a bit. And that is where you get the curing. What I did also learn the last time, see, I squeeze it down as much pressure as I can get to get a tight casing. The thing I did learn the first time that I did this, and I pulled out salamis and put them in the refrigerator, and I was like, we'll just eat it as we get to it. It continues to cure in the refrigerator. So by the time we got to the second salami and started cutting it, the term hard salami took on a whole new meaning. Like, don't amputate your finger while you're trying to cut off a snack bite. Like, seriously hard salami. Like, you need a hard serrated knife and some courage to get a snack. So just keep that in mind. Like, you think of it like, oh, it can sit forever and just keep being delicious like cheese. But yes and no, because as it sits, it will continue to evaporate the moisture out of it, and it will continue to get tighter and smaller and drier and harder. So, pro tip, although I'm not a pro. So this is where I will pull a cup into service, and there, see, that stands up, and then you can just, and if you can get it to stand up like a loose tube and you get the right shape of meat, you could do this with, if you had gloves. I don't have gloves. I do, but I'm not going to put them on. But you can just try to drop it down in and make some better time. You're hanging out in the kitchen with Aunt Steph again, aren't you? Okay, I am so not a pro, but this turns out really good. So for all my funky lighting and weird small kitchen, I mean, you know, we didn't plan this kitchen to be filming in. We've had this house for 24 years. The YouTube thing is relatively new idea, and the kitchen is I don't know, Martha didn't design it, I know that. Okay, so we're getting close to the top of this one, and then I will start the second one. And really after that, all I'm going to do is lay these side by side in like a whatever baking tray, something that'll hold them flat. And they're going to go in my oven overnight at room temp. See if I can get this whole piece in one shot. So it's, you know, all of this stuff is time consuming. The result, and we grow our own pork, we grow our own beef through family. So you know where the food is coming from, which is kind of the point. So, and then I squeeze that down, just take it out. Look how nice, like look how big that is. And just, I squeeze it down until you can see that there's no dimples or dents where there's any gaps, because those are going to be air pockets as this gets smaller. So I'm going to wipe that off and start on the second one. So here are both of them filled, and you can see I try to get them as close to equal, you know, equal weight, equal measure sort of meat in there, and just twist. I try and twist it and just really put some pressure on it to get those tight. And then what I do next, and you can do a string here if you want, but I'm thrifty, so I'm just going to twist that down tight as much as I can, so it's a nice tight top, and then twist tie just off of, I don't know, bread. Recycle, reuse, repurpose, whatever. So twist that on there so that keeps it tight, and we're going to twist that one on there nice and tight like that. And they're fairly close. I mean, you could weigh the meat before you put it in there and really get them equal, but I'm not super picky. And the last thing it says to do before these go, I'm just going to put them in this to go sit in the oven overnight with just on room temp. You take a needle and poke some random holes just to release air so you don't get air pockets in there. And I've done this without poking holes and not had any problem. So I'm going to just lay that in there. Take a needle on this one, like that. Don't lose the needle. And then those, they fit. In fact, they fit really nicely. And one of these is just a big all-clad, like a 9x13, I think. And that's going to go in the oven until tomorrow morning. And then they're going to go hang upstairs at 60 degrees. And that's pretty much it. They'll hang for a month. So I will see you tomorrow. Also, make sure to put a spoon or something in the oven to make sure that no one turns on the oven while these are in there. That would be disaster. See you tomorrow. So the day after, we use one of these. This is just a little wine cooler, and it's got different little settings you can do. I bring the salamis up and hang them. These have been in here for a little while, so you can see the humidity that's already kind of developing. And you hang them by the string that they come with, and they just hang like this, and they will hang for 3 to 4 weeks until they have shrunk by about 30% and they're nice and hard and firm, and they will develop a really nice white mold, which I will link to the finished product in a short that I did a while ago. I put one of these in here. It's just a little monitor thing. You can get these on Amazon, and I want this to be about 60 degrees in here and 70 to 75% humidity. So this can actually get warmer, which is kind of crazy. It feels crazy to have it be that warm, but there they are. And those will sit until 3 weeks from now, and we'll check on them then. But if you want to see the finished product, since I'm not going to wait 3 weeks to publish this video, I will post a link to the video or the playlist right here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.